All right. So problems abound, but let's just recap what we were doing right now. We were victory lapping the Julio Jones news to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
We victory lapped Julio Jones to the Buccaneers so hard that they shut down the stream.
We broke the stream. We broke the internet. We were Kim Kardashianing it real hard on this Julio Jones victory lap.
So you cannot victory lap a 34-year-old wide receiver who was last seen nursing his hamstring on the sidelines. This podcast is now over. But yeah, you have 26% Julio Jones, you said. I had 30% in Ball Mania. Not exactly proud of this, but I don't have a single share of Russell Gage in Ball Mania. And the reason I'm not proud is because I missed I feel like I should have seen the steam coming a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I missed that cheap Russell Gage, but then I refused to chase him up. So I'm very happy I didn't do that. And then I also have 0 Mike Evans, which was one of my biggest stances. I just felt like his ADP was capped. So I do plan to draft Mike Evans. I'm actually pretty excited about this Julio stuff, so I can start drafting Mike Evans. Because I don't want to have a fade stance on him for the season. But that was like one of my basically kind of a closing line value stance that's now I've obviously gotten a little lucky on, but I'll take it.
So I'm looking at my Russell Gage exposures right now over on the Spike Week tool. I'll just show it real quick. And just looking at Ball Mania, I have 5% Russell Gage, but I was getting him at an ADP, as you can see,
great.
103.25.
Yeah.
So
see, that's the sharp move. Take him there, and I missed that. So I'm I don't think you can really victory lap having no Gage. You can victory lap this. This is beautiful.
So that's what I was looking at. And once he got steamed up, there's too many guys around him that just made way more sense. I was never going to draft Gage over like Devonta Smith or anything like that. Like I just physically could not press the button there. Right.
No.
Like it made zero sense. And it's also like in that, freaking, quarterback range for the most part too. Like if you're getting one of those back end, sometimes he's right there and it's like, why would I ever take Russell Gage there? So for me, I think this is all good news for Julio, for Brady, for everybody. Like I'm stoked. Like I said, we were talking about this last week and I thought this was the only real landing spot for Julio that made sense to me.
It's pretty nice. It's I think Godwin you're talking about wanting to target him and him being potentially ready for week 1 on our little mini pod. And I'm excited for any kind of further discount this provides on Godwin. He was the one.
That's what I was going to ask.
I was drafting.
Yeah.
I was a little under the field. I had 7% in my early drafts. But that feels good. Like I feel like maybe ultimately his ADP rises a little bit because of the week 1 reports, but I don't think it'll rise a ton because of the Julio signing.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do we think like is it going to counterbalance each other and he's just going to kind of sit right around pick 63 right now? I'm looking at 6%.
So,
yeah. So like that's what makes sense to me with the Julio signing. I think it's just going to pause enough people. But if he's going to be ready week 1, it's like you want Godwin. We're not taking Julio again. Maybe Evans slips now though.
He has to a little bit, right?
I would assume so. Is he going to stay ahead of AJ Brown, but be that like first, 3rd round pick now? And if he is it enough of a fall for you to take him?
I would like a little further than that. Maybe I'm getting a little greedy, but I mean, he was going more like late 2nd when Godwin was the thoughts were a little bit more optimistic on him. So if we're now getting Godwin looking like he might be ready for week 1, the report's starting to trend in an optimistic direction, that should already bump Evans back, to maybe behind Debo again. And then and maybe behind like Aaron Jones, Saquon. So, and I'd rather take Andrews. So you're already kind of like starting to get back toward the 2-3 turn. And then the Julio stuff, I mean, maybe it doesn't have a huge impact, but I don't know, that should be worth another couple spots, I think. So yeah, I'd love to get him. I'd love to get him like after AJ Brown. That would be my dream.
I think that's going to be like right in that right round where you can get him. So you're going to be looking at possibly even just taking him and AJ Brown on like the 2-3 turn if you're drafting from the 1 spot. So you could be starting like 1 or 2 spots, start like CMC, AJ Brown, Mike Evans. Sounds like a lot of fun.
That does sound fun.
The other thing
the CMC stuff will keep him in that range. Like, but I wonder if, let's say you get CMC from the 102. I wonder if that team, which previously would have been probably doing jumping jack, doing cartwheels. That's not the term. Doing cartwheels to get Evans at the 211.
Right.
Might now try and get him at the 302. So I wonder if we start to see him as like kind of a feature similar to like the Keenan Allen, Mike Williams stuff, where he's like kind of always in that early third range, but rarely in the second.
But never drops.
And never drops. Yeah.
Because I never see Mike Williams or Keenan Allen drop from where they're supposed to be going in drafts. It just, those are two guys. There's a few people like that, but those two for sure. It's like you're never getting them past ADP.
Are we having internet issues, by the way? I'm hearing you just fine, but I'm seeing all these comments saying
I'm seeing you fine. You actually look great. Did you get your
I upgraded my internet. I got a new computer, and all the comments are saying our internet's terrible. But we are streaming perfectly from,
everything I see is great. Yeah. That's all that matters to me is that I can see how good we look.
It's not hurting our conversation. So
right. Yeah. Before we jump into this Best Ball Mania draft.
Oh, did you shut down the other stream, by the way?
I did.
Because someone just said there's two streams.
The other stream, I stopped it. Yeah, I shut it down. So if Eric's still watching, double check that, but it should be stopped. Anyways. Is there any? So the news is starting to pop off like quick right now. We're getting a lot of news.
Yeah.
Is there anything that really jumps out at you? There was two things that came out today, like the Chris Carson news, which we all saw that coming, right? We all knew he was probably done for.
Yeah.
And the Trey Lance stuff, to me, that was just a joke, right? Like, is that not just, we had a conversation, the three of us sat down and we talked about it and we're going to move forward with Trey Lance. Like, we didn't know that in freaking January, right?
Yeah, but there were people that were still nervous about, and maybe still are, because Jimmy G's still there. Like I'm like so beyond being nervous about Jimmy G that I can't like put myself in the headspace. But I mean, his ADP I think has been held down still. Like I think he's going to come up. I think he might flip Burrow when it's all said and done.
He probably should. Like as much as I like to like hate on Trey Lance and all, but if we're looking at pure upside, I mean, it just makes sense for Trey Lance to flip Joe Burrow. He's having surgery, by the way. That was another news that came out today.
Yeah.
Nothing major, I don't think, but I mean, every surgery is worth like at least looking at. And then
appendectomy, which
I
don't think will be a huge deal, but
right. I think if it was, it wouldn't be happening right now, unless it was like a major concern.
Well, I guess with the appendix, it kind of happens when it happens, right? Like I imagine it was.
Yeah, but I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to sit here and try to.
But you don't just like get your appendix removed. Like he must have had like
something popped up.
That was about to burst, right?
He probably. Well, I'm guessing it wasn't about to burst, but I'm guessing they probably did one of these like health checks, like the physicals, and they caught it, and they were like, "Oh, well, this is a problem, but if we do it right now, you're going to be fine in time for the season." Blah 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 blah. Again, not a doctor.
That makes sense.
But that's kind of why I took that. And the other thing, it feels like every other second we're getting some news on the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? It's just, I know every play that happened in their practice, basically. I know when Zay Jones caught a pass. I know when LaVisca caught a pass. You know, right? You just know everything about what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's, I don't know. I think they're going to get steamed up over the next 3 weeks if it stays like this.
So we talked to Jags beat writer John Shipley on a Good Football Show, and he mentioned that like Urban Meyer was such a bummer that it was like actually affecting the beat reporters' morale. Like that's how bad of a coach Urban Meyer was, to the point that like the media around the team was like, "Oh man, this is a rough gig." So I actually wonder if like the Doug Peterson effect is extending to the media. That's why we're getting so many Jag reports. They're just delighted.
They're just rejuvenated. They're ready to cover the team again.
Absolutely.
I can see that. I mean, I think we all knew that Urban Meyer situation was going to be a joke. So Let's go ahead and let's start our draft. And we can kind of talk through some more of this as we're drafting. And when I win, Pat, we can. Oh, look at that! We have 10 spots open. When we win together, I'll send you like some ice cream or something. I heard that's what all the cool kids are doing. So
you send me an ice cream cake. The tax implications are pretty tough, but
yeah,
send me an ice cream cake. That'll be cool.
No, this is we split all winnings on this team. That is how this goes. That's my Spike Week guarantee. We're gonna win $2 million. So
Let's win $2 million. That sounds like a great way.
I want to have
Tuesday
the
afternoon.
sweat. I want to have the stream sweat, right? Like, Bime4 and Pete, they're old news.
Yeah.
They did it last year. They had the team that they drafted on stream, got the sweat. So let's go ahead and be the people that actually draft the team on stream that has a chance of winning the tournament. Were you in any finals last year? Not to put you on the spot.
Make the finals. No. I really only did Ball Mania with any volume. This year I'm doing way more DraftKings than I did last year. So that'll make something.
I almost maxed DraftKings last year, right? I did, I think 145 or something like that. And I had so many teams advance to the playoffs and then just all die. And I had 40 Ball Mania teams, made the finals in that. I had 3 Puppy 2 teams that made the finals in that. So it's like, it's just, the variance is so silly sometimes. It's like the one that you fire the most at, you don't make the finals in, and then you just won off a tournament and make it. So, but we're going to fire 150 in Ball Mania this year, I think. And this is the team that's going to win it.
It sure is.
Have you been, I heard you haven't been getting a lot of the 1 to 5 spots at all. Is that still the case?
Not really. Although, I look at my exposure and I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I think I have 7% one of Cup, McCaffrey, or it's not Taylor. So it's one of those two guys. I think I'm at 7%, which is annoying.
Right.
But I'm also like, maybe it's just in my head. I might be fine. I might be getting, but I think I've gotten really lucky with getting Chase at 6 and sometimes 7.
Yeah.
So that's really made up for, you'd rather have a couple less 105s if you're going to get Chase at 6 or 7.
Well, I've been mixing Chase into occasionally a 101, a 102, a 103. Just because I decided I want to be, for my guys in the top 5, Chase is the easiest to do it with. I want higher ownership versus the field on with him. So I'm like, if I mix him in 1 out of every 4 in the 1, 2, or 3 spot, we're in the 7. We're not going to get so lucky in this draft. I have a feeling.
No, I don't think we're getting Jamar Chase at the 7 in this draft, unfortunately.
No, that's going to suck.
I saw that. I saw you did a video on that take. I thought that was interesting. I've gotten Chase enough past 5 that I'd rather be, I think I can be overweight Chase and overweight Jefferson, and even with the field on the top 3 guys, which is where I want to be.
So I'd have to check my exposures, but my whole theory, I clickbaited it by saying I'm fading Justin Jefferson, right? Because I'm taking Jamar Chase in the 4th and everything.
Right.
But I still had, I think, 8 to 10% Justin Jefferson by getting him when Jamar Chase goes before him. So I'm not completely fading Justin Jefferson. I'm still grabbing him when he goes in the 5th spot or more. And I've still had him at 8%. It's probably lower now, but every one of my 1 through 5 is lower because it's just I'm on that run of the back end, sort of like you.
Yeah.
And maybe that turns around and fixes all of that. But that was the overall point of it, is I just look at Jamar Chase as the guy that I like a lot anyways. I love Jamar Chase this year. And if I can just get over, if I can get 16%, 17% Jamar Chase, doubling the field on teams with Jamar Chase, I feel good about it. I'm not,
and it's tough. Very few people are going to have that. So if you're right on that stance, which is easy to see being right on, then yeah, you're going to crush.
Right. So, and he's one of the guys that can put up a 40 burger in week 17. He did it last year. So those are kind of things that I'm slightly taken into account as well. Let me refresh this, see if we can get our overlay to pop up.
Yeah, I just confirmed. I only have 6% McCaffrey, which feels awful. But I'm actually overweight the other guys.
Nice. All right, so we are going to be coming up on the clock. We have the normal 7 range stuff going on right now where Eckler's still there, Derrick Henry, Stephon Diggs. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'm generally going Stephon Diggs here, as you can kind of see by my ownership percentages here.
I'm happy to do Diggs.
So, I mean, that's up to you if you want to do Diggs. I'm never going to say no.
The only guy I would have floated is Eckler. So, Diggs for me.
All right, let's do it. Let's do Diggs. So, yeah, we got some new Spike Week tools here. Everything's getting updated all the time, which is nice. You'll start seeing other colors pop up. Have you seen the Spike Week overlay yet?
Yeah, I've been using it on DraftKings as well. It's pretty sweet.
It's really sweet on DraftKings because you have no idea what's going on that site half the time when you're drafting.
It's so true.
It's just such a... I forgot to add the other thing, but something we've updated on this that you can put in now is you can see a player's correlation with your first or second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can... I think you were joking about this with Davis at one point about like combos being the next thing next year.
That's next year's thing.
I was already looking at that. Like that was the thing that I was already looking at before you guys had that conversation. And now we can actually see it with this tool, which is going to, I forgot to save it. I was updating some settings before we jumped on stream. And you can change the color.
Maybe do.
What's that?
This would be kind of interesting because you're not going to be able to know like what combos are out there, but I would imagine based on the ADP, there's like probably an expected combo rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much these, like these guys have been kind of ADP twins for, however many months, like they're probably being paired up at whatever percent. Because you could see like this combo is potentially like very unique.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that idea. I'm sure that our main man hacker that's doing all the work behind the scenes for us can find a way to get us like that data without actually... He's limited in some of the stuff he can do, but that seems easy enough to figure out, as I say, when I would have no idea how to do it. But yeah, so I like seeing like I have everything in red now for what like players that I have low ownership on. I think you'll see it pop up on green for certain players that I'm like way over 20% on as well. It has made drafting so different for me.
When the game is highlighted, does that mean you're overweight that game?
When the game, that means that you have
that means we have
a stack correlation. Yeah. So where would you be looking here? Like I like Saquon, Debo, Javonte generally.
I'm into Saquon and Debo for sure.
So this is actually a great point to bring up about this, and then I'll stop talking about the tools. But I was doing a Diggs team the other day, and I was curious about my ownership with Barkley. I actually went to the Draft IQ to figure it out because I thought I had done it like 7 or 8 times.
Uh-huh.
And it turned out I had only done it like once or twice. So I was like, oh shit, I thought I had way more of that combo than I actually do. And I was able to go and figure that out. So that's just the little stuff that I'm looking at as I do my back end of my 75, 80 teams that I need to do still.
Yeah, that's right. I got up to 76. So I'm going to take a couple weeks off, do the DraftKings one that's about to fill, the $20 tournament's about to fill over there.
Yep.
And then I'll be back after training camp.
I'm going to start firing the drafters $20 one too, to be honest.
There's going to be a lot of overlay there, right? That's
what the expected. The expected is overlay. I'm not going to be able to 150 it. It's just too late for me, but I want to fire their $2 tournament too.
Nice.
Do you like the tournament format, or do you prefer that
I like
scoring?
I like the tournament format because I think it it creates like more things you have to think through, which I feel like is good. Right? You want like more things that that's like a way you can gain an edge on the field if there's like more stuff you have to think through. With the drafters one, you kind of have to build the perfect team, which there's a lot of strategy obviously goes into how you structure a team like that. But I just think the tournament stuff's a little bit more interesting. Although I do like I don't like that Ball Mania's got such a big week 17. That's like a pretty big bummer to me. It's almost like 500 people.
Yeah, I mean it's become the thing now.
Yeah, I wish it was like 100. That'd be pretty sweet.
Right. So Eric asked, how does your strategy change for high stake tournaments like the Great Dane and the big money ones on DK? Are you firing any of those?
I haven't fired any of those yet.
Yeah, I've kind of waiting to see if they do big dogs. I might fire some of those. And I don't think my strategy is going to overly change too much at this point, right? I mean, I don't know. I have to think through it, I guess. But I remember doing big dogs last year, and it didn't actually change much because the rooms were still kind of playing the same. They might have been a little more running back heavy.
What I would say with like the biggest thing that would affect my strategy, I think, is how much how big the groups are that you're advancing through. So I just pulled up the Great Dane.
Real quick, we are on the clock.
Oh, we're on the clock.
Yep.
I mean, DJ Moore's pretty sweet.
I was looking at Kyle Pitts as well, but he actually got picked right before us. But we can do DJ Moore.
I thought his ADP would kind of skyrocket up, and it's definitely moved up a bit, but it's not. I mean,
I think it's going to drop.
Really?
Not heavy, not like crazy. I try to get into the mind of like the casual player, right? And our casual players are going to start entering in the next week or so, maybe next 2 weeks. They're going to start firing. And I just feel like DJ Moore has like stink on his name because he was like so hyped up last year. People were drafting him. And I don't think he was particularly awful. The offense as a whole was awful. And I just don't think he technically lived up to the expectations that some people put on him. And I try to think like through the casual mind, and it's not a knock on people. It's just not everybody's sickos like us that are drafting in February.
You've been having a great summer where no one's coming at you.
Right, exactly. But like if you're like, DJ Moore, he didn't really score any touchdowns last year. He didn't do much. I don't know if I want to take him at the 3rd round value when you were getting him in the 5th round last year or 4th round, and he didn't do exactly what you were looking for last year.
Yeah.
Where we see potential. That's what we're looking at, right? So, if we want to button off that high stakes thing, I guess I have to think through it more. You were going somewhere with it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like in round 2 of the Great Dane, it's a 6-person group. Round 3 is a 9-person group. Round 4 is a 9-person final. So I do think like you probably can correlate more, right? If you're only trying to win a 9-person final,
that's a good point.
You're not going to need the nuts. So, and maybe like advancing out of a 6 and a 9-person group to get to the 9-person final. Like I wouldn't say like I wouldn't go 0 running back, but I'd be a little bit less inclined, like because you don't necessarily need like a true super team. So I feel like I would love to do probably hero running back build, if it fell that way. So that's like, I think, it's the same, it's the same site, same scoring, roughly same ADP. So nothing too crazy. What about ETN here?
Oh my God, you're going to do this to me?
I mean, ETN in the 4th. ETN's been like a feature of the 3rd round, it feels like.
He's going to fall even more, though. This is still bad value. But we'll do it because you're the guest, and I will.
Well, who else would you take if you're?
I mean, if I'm taking a running back, I'm taking Hall or Akers over ETN personally.
I've got a bunch of 5th round Hall, so I can't stomach the 4th.
That's
round
fair.
Hall.
I was just bringing up the point that I do not like that I didn't get enough Hall early on in drafts. There was a mistake by me. I should have been getting him more so than I was. But I like Cam Akers, and I just think that Cam Akers 4th, 5th round on one of the best offenses in the league is going to get 70 to 80% of the work, I think, just based on the way that they run that offense and the opportunities he's going to get. I'm not, especially, we were just talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars and how good they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be great or anything like that. What is ETN sailing is what?
I think the ETN stuff is difficult if James Robinson plays all the pass protection snaps, because now he's like, I don't know, it's probably like kind of DeAndre Swift's rookie year sort of situation where like he doesn't quite get there, but he has some big plays. He scores some touchdowns. He rips off some really nice long receptions, although he's not like, getting a ton of work as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a chance where Robinson's just not ready coming off the Achilles. And then I think like, we start to remind ourselves how much like Alvin Kamara looks as a prospect. So I do think there's upside just because he's really talented and he's a good receiver.
Yeah, I just think there's too many question marks for me to be drafting him 4th round, 3rd round. We're coming off a broken foot. We're got the James Robinson stuff. Our offense is going to be better than last year, but I don't think they're going to be the greatest show on turf or anything close to that. No. So, and if Robinson's in on pass protection, he's probably in on all the goal line stuff, right? And
I don't think all the goal line stuff. I think ETN will definitely have a role there. I mean, I don't think Robinson's going to be very good this year. He tore his Achilles late.
That's valid too. I mean, it's just they're both coming off those injuries. We are on the clock.
I mean, Waller in the 5th is pretty sweet. What do we have so far?
So we're looking at Saquon, ETN, Diggs, DJ Moore.
I mean, Waller's pretty awesome. We're like completely uncorrelated without any stack set up, but I don't care. Let's take Waller.
Well, I think a lot of these teams we can backdoor though, right?
Yeah, we can, for sure.
Like, I mean, we're not really looking at much on Jacksonville having to. I don't even care if ETN's a one-off unless we find something great on Houston that we really like. I mean,
are you drafting much Trevor Lawrence?
I'm drafting a ton of Trevor Lawrence as my second QB.
All right, well,
Lawrence as my second QB is, but I wait till you see my Kirk exposure. So if we're looking at Christian Kirk, I got 34% Christian Kirk right now.
I'm not drafting Kirk. I don't know. I haven't been able to talk myself into the upside. What are you? Why are you so psyched?
So again, I don't think the offense is going to be particularly great, but they are going to be throwing the ball a ton. They're going to be behind in a ton of games. Like, this is real easy, like shit. Like, for me, it's the offense isn't going to be that good, but they're going to be passing. I do think Trevor Lawrence takes a step forward. I think they paid Christian Kirk a ton of money for a reason.
Yep.
A, because they want him to be the number one. B, you have to pay people a little bit more money to go to Jacksonville, right? Like, that's the two points.
That is the reason.
Right. So
live in Jacksonville.
Yeah, exactly. Not sorry to our Jacksonville listeners. So they're going to do everything they can to make him the number one wide receiver. And I think if you go to the first preseason game and we see Christian Kirk house a 35-yard touchdown or something like that, his ADP is just going to skyrocket, right? And then much like Julio Jones, I'm done drafting. I don't have to draft Christian Kirk anymore.
That's interesting. Where have you been getting him?
Well, I started drafting him when he was like a 10th rounder. Okay. I'm still pounding him where he is now in like the 8th round. So I still think there's room to rise. I'm getting to the point that I don't need to draft him anymore, though. Yeah. If I really wanted to put the brakes on it, I could. Him and MVS. MVS is so like 34% Christian Kirk. MVS, I'm at 48% because I'm a psychopath and
I take a lot of stands, and dude, you're sick.
Devonta Smith's another one that I love. Like, those are my big wide receiver stands, though.
Nice. Right, I'm glad you're on Devonta Smith. We have him on our main event team. All right, we're up. What do we got at the other positions?
So Hurts is still there if we wanted to go quarterback.
Can we get I would like to take Hurts, but what do we do with the stacking? What are other options?
At quarterback, we have 7 seconds. We got Burrow, Russell, Trey Lance.
I'm down for Hurts unless I'm also down for anything else.
All right, I'm just going to panic select Hurts. I think it's fine.
Hurts. Yeah.
I think we have options for Hurts, though, personally.
Yeah, I think we definitely do.
Yeah. Might be getting a little too highlighted right now. I didn't realize how bright that yellow was going to be.
Yeah, calm down, yellow. We're streaming.
So that's the other thing. I changed the color of my stacking partners. So anytime you see a guy pop up in yellow,
you can like customize that?
Yeah, we can customize that now. So all of these colors you can customize if you wanted to.
No shit. All right.
Yeah, you can make it so
that.
Oh,
I see. Yeah, okay, yeah, because I have the extension. I didn't realize you could scroll to the bottom.
Right. It's new, but it's quite helpful. So
bye-week concerns. You guys have a bye-week concerns color? I didn't know you guys were bye-week bros. What's going on?
No, I shut that off. I was like, not me, not this guy. We're getting
no
all
such
the
thing as a bye-week concern.
Not in Ball Mania. This is war. Speaking of war,
trying to get some unique combos.
I've been feeling like I've had a little bit of draft fatigue, specifically on DK. I'm guessing you're getting there on DK as well, because it's
a little bit.
It sucks to draft on DK, to be perfectly honest. I feel like that scene, I think it was in Band of Brothers, like the war's going. Did you watch Band of Brothers?
Sorry, my headphone dropped out for a second.
Oh, no.
Why are you getting draft fatigue?
So did you watch the show Band of Brothers?
Yeah, I love Band of Brothers.
So there's like a scene in Band of Brothers where there's all the new soldiers coming in and they're like all like excited, and then they see all the like veterans coming out that had just been to war and just like beat the shit. I feel like we're the guys coming out as the new drafters are coming in. I've actually been planning on making that video. I got to go find that specific
Please do.
scene.
That's hilarious.
That's how I feel, though. That's kind of where I've been with that. All right, so we did miss out on Devonta Smith. Yeah,
but that's figurative word with that sweet yellow popping up.
That yellow just throwing it out there. Yeah. So we are on the clock. I'm guessing we want to pound wide receiver right now, right?
I would do Kirk. I do your boy Kirk.
You want to do Kirk
up there? Sure.
Do you think you have to tell me twice about grabbing Christian Kirk? Absolutely
Get that
not.
Jacksonville stack set up.
Let's do it. So yeah, like this orange, I set this color up just so it's a different color for my high exposures. Look at that.
Nice.
Point it out and they draft them. So I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Russell Gage in this draft. Right after this news just broke, he's already falling.
Where did Evans go?
That's a good question. Let's take a look at the board. So Mike Evans, he still went 14th. But not everyone might have heard the news at this point, you know?
Maybe not. Yeah, there's going to be I wonder if one of the reasons to kind of do the barbell is that like you don't have to like I want to draft Evans now because I don't have any of them. Mm-hmm. And I think Evans is good. I don't want to be fading potentially the number one wide receiver on the Bucs. But I just thought his price was out of control. So, but if I'm drafting tomorrow, the next day, Evans is going to probably slowly tick down in ADP. So hopefully in like 3 weeks or whatever, when I'm starting to draft with volume again, that's like already run its course, right?
So I'm looking at my Evans exposure right now. I have 12% Evans, but my average ADP on him is 18.4 and his current is 15.9. So
yeah,
I mean, it's not like a massive difference, but that you're not going to get massive swings in those first few rounds. Like 2 picks is kind of a big deal.
Right? It's a big deal. Like, yeah, his rise from kind of the mid to late third to like, you'll see him go ahead of CD. I mean, that's big. Yeah. Like an auction, like if you think about like auction dollars, it's like a huge increase.
Right. All right. So we are going to be coming back up on the clock here. I'm guessing you're going to want to go wide receiver again, unless you're looking for like some sort of inverted hyper fragile build. which I have done some of. I'm not sure how comfortable you'd be doing that with taking a quarterback and tight end, though.
I feel like wide receivers really would be good here. At least I think we need to take a wide receiver with one of the next 2 picks. Could maybe get away with. I mean, honestly, I would take Burks. I think the Burks discount's about to end.
Your Burks over Ayuk?
I think so without Lance, yeah.
Okay.
I think this discount's over. This discount. I think he won't go up to like where he was in the 6-7 range, but
yeah,
probably in the 7-8 again.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I've also been doing like what I was just talking about, that like inverted hyper fragile, where I get like my 3rd running back in this range, and then like I just punt off the 4th, like because I'm a big Dearness Johnson stan this year.
I love Dearness Johnson.
I've been riding the Dearness Johnson train since February. So like,
where's your dream landing spot
for him? I don't want him to go anywhere.
Oh, you want Hunt to go?
I want Hunt to go. Because I don't think there's anywhere, whoever gets traded, I don't know where they're going to go that really gives them a better situation. Like, what is the better situation? I know everyone keeps saying the Saints, but I don't love the Saints situation.
I think the better situation has not yet been created, right?
That's also true.
Imagine he was traded to the Ravens last season. And we're not picking up Tyson Williams. We're picking up Dearness Johnson.
Right.
I think it's sort of like a situation like that, which those situations usually pop up. So,
yeah. So that's a good point. The Rams was the other one that it could have been last year. Like, obviously they had Darrell Henderson, but when they still traded for a running back, they still traded for Sony Michel.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. He could
use
Sony Michel this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the good way to look at it. Because everyone's throwing out the situations that it makes sense for right now, and none of them make sense. Like, I don't love any of them, personally.
Well, if those situations made so much sense, then someone would have already traded for him. Like,
also
you know
valid.
I mean? The Saints probably feel fine with what they've got that UDFA there. They seem to like. So, yeah.
All right. Thing me and both Bime4 have been doing is sometimes if I have Hunt, I'll still draft Dearness Johnson. Like, it doesn't stop me. It doesn't stop me.
I actually think that's positively correlated because you're betting that one of them gets traded.
Right.
If that happens, then they together increase a ton in value. So I think it's like a weird stack of sorts. But
right.
Yeah. It's a parlay, right? It's basically a parlay.
Julio just went in the 9th.
Oh my God.
So, you know.
I'm not going to draft another share of this dude. I'm so happy.
All right, we're on the clock. We have some options. I would take
Dallas
here.
Goedert, dude.
I was just going to ask if you want to do Goddard, be done at tight end, and have our stack.
Yes, I do.
Like, that makes sense to me.
We only have one elite quarterback. I kind of like having the double elite tight end with the one elite quarterback.
Yeah, and you're getting your double elite tight end. We got Waller in the 5th, and we got Goddard in the 9th.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not really paying much for that.
Right. Other guys I would have been looking at here is like Ramondre, maybe, just to get that 3rd running back. I'm leaving most drafts with one of the 2 New England backs, whether it's Damian Harris or Ramondre. I
do love Ramondre. I'm not drafting a ton of Damian, but
I think
there's a guy coming up I'm going to be pretty interested in.
You're going to be eyeballing. I think you should take another look at your Damian Harris stance.
Okay.
At some point.
Tell me why.
Well, you're getting him in the 9th round, right? 9th, 10th round. We know the offense that New England runs, which is just run heavy. He's contract year. He's not going to stay with the Patriots next year. He's gone. Belichick isn't going to like workhorse him, but I think he's going to workhorse the 2 of them. I think you're going to see a ton of run in both of the running backs. I don't worry about rookie running backs in New England. Like, you have to be really good to get on the field in New England as a rookie. So I think he is going to ride these 2. I think it's going to be Ramondre. I think it's going to be Damian Harris. And I think it's going to be more Damian Harris than Ramondre, but it's going to be close. Like, I think you're looking at like 60-40 probably would be my guess.
I think Davis maybe got in my head a little bit because he's like, Ramondre should be going ahead of Damian. I'm like, yeah, he should be. And then I just haven't really taken Damian as I've kind of felt that I should be taking Ramondre. Anytime you can get Ramondre, you got to get Ramondre. This is basically what I'm doing. So I just skip Damian and wait for Ramondre.
Yeah, I think so. We'll finish this up in a second. Let's get who's the guy you were looking at still here?
Rachaad White I'm just hammering Rachaad White right now.
Yeah, I got 18% on him right now. So you're not the only one. It goes with our DJ Moore.
It goes with our DJ Moore. I love him as a third running back because it's just such a high upside swing, and we don't necessarily need him in the early weeks of the season.
And the Julio thing doesn't really affect him, in my opinion, at all.
No. It might help him. I mean, if the offense, we just want that offense to be good.
Right. We want the offense to just be humming.
Yeah.
Just to cap off that Damian Harris thing, they're a round apart now. It's 9th and 10th round. And I look at this like sort of like the Tony Pollard Zeke situation, not completely, but you got to remember the team you're dealing with when you're talking about these players, right? And we're talking about the New England Patriots. It's starting off with Damian Harris.
Yeah.
Without injury, it's Damian Harris. Then Ramondre is going to get some work, and it could be a hot hand situation at that point or game scheme specific stuff, but it's going to be Harris in the beginning. So I'm doing a lot of 0 RB teams where I am starting with Damian Harris as my first running back.
And that makes sense.
And I feel great about it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, he also probably could get you off to a hot start, which is important in a 0 running back team. I kind of like Devin Singletary for the same reason.
I love both of those guys. I have plenty of 0 RB teams that I have Harris, Singletary as my 2 running backs.
Yeah.
And then I'm loaded. I have my starting quarterback, which is probably Mahomes. I don't know if you saw that percentage.
I didn't. Where are you at on him?
So we're at 40% on Patrick Mahomes right now.
Wow. I mean, you almost have 50% MVS, so I guess I can't be shocked.
Right. We're not going to get the Chiefs thing again like this.
No, we're not.
It's really never going to happen again. And when he was like the third rounder and he was like that tier gap between Hurts, Murray, Lamar, like I understood people not wanting him there, but now they're all going in the 5th round just about. Like they're all right around each other. So it's like, I love Lamar. I love Kyler. Like I'm not against those guys, but you're saying I can get Mahomes and easily stack him.
It's so easy to stack
with no problem. And I just can't stop clicking the button at this moment. So it's just the way I'm going with the quarterback position a lot. I'll probably curtail it a little here towards the end. And he might rise. It might be that whole casual drafter seeing Patrick Mahomes and just starting to grab him in the 3rd
I could see that, yeah.
And when that happens, I'm done again. And I got all my exposure right around the 5th round, and I'm done.
I have 15% Mahomes, and you're making me feel like I'm a bear. Like, why haven't I just been hammering Mahomes every time in the 5th round?
I mean, you're not a bear at 15%, but it's like, it's just, you can get him with anyone. You know, other than Kelsey, you're getting MVS, you're getting Sky Moore, Juju's in the Hardman. 6th round. It's Hardman if you want Hardman.
I am taking some Hardman because I'm like, I am not going to be super overweight. I thought it was super overweight. I'm barely overweight as it turns out on the Chiefs, but I'm not going to be overweight the Chiefs in the one season where it's so super easy and then get buried by Mecole. Well, speaking of Mecole, we could go Galladay. We have a Giants thing set up.
Yeah, let's do Kenny. I have an idea of where I want to go with our next pick as well. But yeah, the Mahomes thing, it's like you're not a bear, but for me right now, it's just I'm gonna pound Mahomes. I want to get more Lamar, more Kyler. My exposures to them isn't bad either. Like I'm around 13, 14, 15% on all those guys as well. I've done some double elite quarterback builds, which
me too.
They're not always my favorite, but I just like the pure upside. And because of where I like some of these receivers, I don't think I'm giving up a ton of capital every single time, but I'm not doing it every time either.
Yeah, I'm not. I think I'm underweight on Allen, Herbert, and Lamar. Just barely on Lamar. I'm overweight Murray, Mahomes, Hurts, Lance, and Burrow. I'm slightly underweight on.
I definitely underweight on Herbert for sure. Like that's a definite for me. Like if I look up Herbert real quick, I'm probably at like 5%. Yeah, I'm 5% Justin Herbert right now. Lamar, I got 13%. Kyler, I'm at 12%. And who's the other one that's in that range? Hurts, who we have. I'm at 12%. So I'd like to get some of those up a little, I guess.
Me too. Yeah, I'd like to get Lamar. I'd like to be over the field on Lamar.
Yeah, I was hammering Lamar early because he was the 5th round guy that I liked when Mahomes was in the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hammering him, but I just wasn't hammering enough drafts, I guess, at that point in time. So
you just weren't drafting enough, Rob.
I know. 300 drafts now, and I wasn't drafting enough.
Yeah, we're not drafting enough.
So the guy I was looking at went, I think.
Who was your guy?
Oh, no, he didn't go yet.
Okay, all right.
Well, we're going to have some decisions here because I see a couple things we could be doing for our team. I don't want to say too much because we have 2 players that are just, one of them's a badge bro, so they're definitely going to try to snipe us.
Don't snipe us, badge bro.
Don't snipe us, badge bro. So the guys I'm looking at are pretty much right next to each other. They are sitting right next to each other. We can finish off this Jacksonville stack if we wanted to, and take Lawrence, and then we're done for our quarterback and our tight end. Or we can take Jalen Tolbert, who I actually like a lot in this spot.
I kind of like the Lawrence stack. We got him double stacked.
Yes, we do have him double stacked. And we can possibly get Nico later. But he's a tough one right now.
Nico?
Because,
he's been rising so much?
He's been rising, and he's not quite Julio going in the 9th, but...
Julio in the 9th?
Julio in the 9th.
This is incredible.
I was trying to tell people that this is what's going to happen. Like, not to like victory lap that, but I said as soon as he signed with any team, anyone, he was going to just shoot up draft boards.
It was like 13th round at a minimum. Like the Bucs was one of the best case scenarios, and he could have signed somewhere much worse. But like, I don't know, he signs with the Texans. He's going in the 13th. Like he's going. Yeah, he's not gonna be free.
Yeah, dude. I mean, 9th is a little much, but yeah, I wish I could just remove him from my draft board now.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that was an option where you could just be like, I don't want this guy on my board anymore. Just remove him. I'm not drafting him anymore, because I don't need to. You don't need to. You're actually got more than me.
And I also have a bunch of him on DraftKings where he's also free.
Yeah, I need to check my DraftKings exposure on him. I'm actually kind of curious on that.
It might be embarrassingly high on DraftKings because on DraftKings, like, there's this pocket where you don't have to draft running backs for a while. And I kind of like fill everything else. Or sorry, don't draft wide receivers for a while. Like I'll get to 6 usually, or maybe 7, and then I just like don't draft any for several rounds. And then I just like, tack on Julio.
Yeah, it's gonna end up being embarrassing. I'm gonna look for it right now. Is it? Oh yeah, it's 37% on DraftKings. But it's done.
It's done now, yeah.
It's done. That number is going to come down, but I am more than happy with.
You want to take a guess at my DraftKings exposure on Julio Jones?
Is it
thanks courtesy of the Spike Week tools here?
Is it 44%?
It's 41%.
Nice. So you still had more than me, and I thought I was pounding on most drafts, but I'm jealous of your exposure on them right now. All right, we are back on the clock.
Where are you at here?
I hate this point of the draft, to be honest with you.
I would do TDP. Or are there any other running backs jump out to you?
Oh, I would love to take Price.
Yeah, let's take Price. I think we're okay. I mean, we've got 5 wide receivers. We're done at the onesies.
Let's go over our team real quick, just so everyone knows. We have Hurts, Lawrence, Saquon, ETN, Rashad White, Tyrion Davis-Price, Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Traylon Burks, Kenny Golladay, Darren Waller, and Dallas Goedert. I actually like it a lot. I don't think I have many. I mean, I don't have many teams like this because I don't have Travis Etienne. But these are a lot of guys that I have, and I feel like this combo is not a combo that I have. The Waller Goddard isn't overly common for me.
Me neither.
But I like it.
Yeah, and if I have 2 elite quarterbacks at that point, I'm usually I feel like I need the wide receiver too much in most cases to take Goddard to go double tight. I mean, that's a lot in their first like 9 picks to spend 2 on each onesie, but yeah.
And Lawrence is a massive tier gap for me. Like after Lawrence, I don't like anything that's left at the quarterback position. So that's why I have a lot of Trevor Lawrence personally.
He saves you the roster spot, right? Because I think after Lawrence, you almost have to go 3.
Yes.
Even with Hurts, I feel like that.
Right. I completely agree with that. So yeah, Lawrence is the last 2 QB guy if I have an elite.
Yep.
So I think that's the best way to describe it all together. So I want to look at this draft board real quick.
Can you? Oh, never mind.
What do you want to look at?
No. After the draft board, I'll let you know.
I was just trying to see a certain guy. What do you want to look at here?
Just the running backs and wide receivers only.
Oh yeah, we don't need. Yeah, we're done with everything else. So Crowder's probably an interesting name now with all the Gabriel. Mm-hmm. I mean, not Gabriel Davis, but the Isaiah McKenzie news. And I just look at that like. So I love Ben Gretsch, one of my favorite guys to listen to. I had one disagreement with him last year, and it was Kenneth Gainwell. And I think we were second day in camp, and Kenneth Gainwell was like taking 3rd or 4th team reps or something like that. And he's like, he's undraftable now. I'm like, he's a mid-round pick, and they're not going to start him. Let's pick, and then we can talk about it. Do we want to go, Nico?
Yeah, let's just do it. Yeah. Let's chase the steam on Nico Collins.
I mean, we got him like right around ADP, so current ADP.
His current ADP.
Current ADP. Look at that. We valued him. We got him 2 picks.
All right, value hound. The steamiest guy on the site. We're psyched to get it at 2 picks.
Second steamiest guy, sir.
Second steamiest after Julio Jones.
After Julio Jones jumped 10 rounds today.
We just someone said he went in the 13th round on a DraftKings draft.
That's like first round in DraftKings.
Yeah, with half the field auto drafting. That might as well be the first round. It's gonna take like 8 weeks for Julio Jones ADP to correct on DraftKings because all the auto drafters.
We have Gabe Davis in the chat letting us know that 549 yards and 599 yards. I'm trash. Grab Isaiah McKenzie before his ADP goes through the roof. Has Gabe Davis showed up in you guys' chats?
Yeah, I've seen Gabe Davis on Pete's streams. I think
Julio is washed. I don't agree with that completely. I don't think he's 2015 Julio Jones by any means, but I mean, clearly, like if that's your standard, then yes. But I think there is a lot of room for him to do stuff on this Bucs team.
Guys who are like mostly washed and free it's like one of my favorite archetypes at the moment. I mean, this was the Zach Ertz play from last year where I was like hammering Ertz.
You're not taking him this year, right?
No, of course, because he's washed. He's not free. He's washed and not free.
Yeah.
I don't want washed and not free. I want washed and free.
I don't think I've drafted him once, to be perfectly honest.
I probably have like once or twice because I have enough Kyler to where I'm sure I've done it. But let's see. I have one. I've done it once.
You've done
in
it
76
once?
teams. Yeah.
When I miss out on a stack with Kyler, like if I don't get Rondell Moore, I just go with Trey McBride in the 18th as like a third tight end.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the same with Mahomes with Noah Gray.
Oh, come on.
Just
That's not the guy. You got to bring through the bring back move. You got to get Greg Dulcich. No, Greg. Come on.
I'm not falling for it.
No, Greg. Greg Dulcich, man. All the drum beat. You're not hearing that steady drum beat?
I can't. Not.
It's coming. It's coming for Alberto.
It's not happening. It's not happening. That was a great tweet the other day, by the way. One of your best works. We have Chark 20 picks. I mean, DJ Chark.
Yeah. You want a value hound or you want to stack up Marvin Jones? Value hounding feels maybe more fun.
I don't know if I want to super stack Lawrence when we already have Kirk and ETN.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
It's gonna be tough sledding enough. Like I like the Jaguars. I'm not all the way in on the Jaguars like that. It's probably shocking that, you know.
No, you have to be all the way in to be like Marvin Jones, welcome to the squad.
Did you see the screenshot of the guy that drafted every Green Bay Packer the other day?
No, I did not.
He drafted every Green Bay Packer that you could draft except for AJ Dillon. And it's like, that's like,
AJ Dillon buries him. just like, you had to have AJ Dillon this year. He's got every Packer butt.
I saw guys coming in drafts doing that last year. There was a guy named Steelers something, and he literally jumped in a draft and just started pounding every single Steeler. And then I posted it in like a Discord or something. Someone's like, he just came in my draft and did it with every single 49er. I was like, all right, man.
Wow, all right. Interesting.
Best Ball Moderator says, isn't Julio the fourth receiver? That wasn't that productive last year. Is he the fourth receiver in Tampa? I don't know if he's the fourth receiver in Tampa.
Yeah, like, not to start.
Not to start.
Godwin misses some time.
And I don't know if he's coming in to be the fourth or if Gage is getting moved.
Right.
So I don't know if you sign Julio with the intention of him not playing football.
Imagine if prior to last season, Julio had not been traded, and then you had a take that Russell Gage was going to play over Julio Jones on the Falcons.
You would have been like,
mocked. Yeah, mocked. Just roundly mocked.
Yes.
And now a year from now, it feels like weird to be like, could Julio Jones play ahead of Russell Gage? Like, yeah, he could. He definitely could.
Thanks.
I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but it's possible for sure.
Right. All right, we're coming back up. Somehow we ended up with 7 wide receivers now. Very quickly, our wide receivers built. So this range is always interesting because obviously we're looking at wide receivers, running backs most of the time, for sure. I mean, clearly I've been pounding a ton of Kendrick Bourne. This was a lot before I was getting more 17th round.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be grabbing as much of him. I'm going to let that exposure. I mean, unless you want him right now. No, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine going elsewhere. I mean,
do we do
Fuller?
A
number of options. Like, we could do Fuller. We do Wandale to kind of attack on this Giants thing. It might be too many Giants. I don't know. I like McKinnon. I like Mostert.
I do like Mostert.
We're probably done at running back with one more. So if you want to.
Yeah, let's do Mostert. Okay. And then we'll fire. Maybe we should have done a wideout. Fuller's interesting, though, now with the signing, because where does Fuller go at this point?
Yeah, and the Fuller one, I've always felt that Fuller had a lower floor. Fuller could not play football this year. Like, we just haven't heard from him. There was kind of like these like whispers about, like, you know, him not being in a great place last year, the PED suspension. He's got the shattered finger that's required multiple surgeries. There's been like no rumors of him. I mean, like, people have kind of there's like been idle talk or whatever, but nothing substantial. That said, I'm drafting him a ton. And it's just, I know I'm probably more likely to eat it than I was with the Julio pick, but I think the ceiling's higher. I mean, he's still a young player, or not super young, but he's young, a lot younger than Julio. And he's a better wide receiver at this point.
Yeah, and the only news that has come out on him is like, well, he doesn't like to play in the cold weather.
Yeah.
Like, great. Like, sometimes you have to do stuff you don't like to do, man, just to keep earning money. I do it every day. So, like, if Green Bay calls, then you got to go.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know where I'd want to see him end up, to be honest. I guess the gross place for him to go that makes sense is still Cleveland. I just want that whole situation to be wrapped up. I'm sick of that already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm still not drafting him, Deshaun Watson.
I've drafted him occasionally, but what I'm doing is I'm drafting David Bell again.
Mhm.
That's how I've decided to handle it. I've drafted very little Watson. I don't know if I have Watson actually in Best Ball Mania. I've drafted him on DraftKings. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just decided, you know what, I'll be overweight David Bell, and then that way I'm like not completely dead if Watson's back.
And he's starting to shoot up the draft board again too.
Yeah.
It scares me because I don't have him. But after our pick, I have something I want to talk about with that as well. So we're probably just looking at wideouts here.
I think 2 wideouts to close it out, right?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Let's do Fuller, man.
Let's do it. We talked about him. Might as well grab him. So
Washington free. That's the combo we like, you know.
Look, and we still can get another Jacksonville Jaguar if we want. Zay Jones, Camp Buzz.
Actually, have a guy I'll throw out there.
Yeah.
I don't want him to get sniped. He'll definitely get sniped. He won't, but I'll still wait.
All right, we can wait. So the Watson thing, I think the side of things that we forget about drafting on, and Watson's like a big, he's different than most players just based on everything that's going on around him, like with how long he might be suspended. But there's a ton of drafts that Watson didn't get drafted in early. So if he does pop off and you're in those drafts that he didn't, and you advance from that field,
mm-hmm.
I think that's something to be looking at as well, because it's like, all right, I didn't have as much to get through, and now I didn't have to worry about those Watson teams because I drafted early. Like, I think that's the other side of not just I didn't draft this guy because I didn't know early enough, but I didn't have to compete against him either type of thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I don't think we ever look at that side of things.
If Watson, let's say Watson has a lighter than expected suspension, and then he actually has like a fairly expensive ADP, like, will you be out because you don't want to be competing against the teams that got him cheap, or how are you going to handle that?
I'm not on that train where people are like, you can't draft this guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to suck because I didn't take him. Like, that's obvious, but I still think that let's do our pick and then we can finish this discussion and then call it a show. Who are you looking at over here? Is he still there?
Quez Watkins.
Oh, Quez.
Little, not always drafted. Get a little double stack with Jalen Hurts.
Are you shocked that I don't have 0% Quez Watkins?
I'm not. No. I think he's a fun little flyer to tack on. All right, so I have 6%.
Well, 6%'s pretty beefy.
That is beefy. It is beefy for Quez Watkins, isn't it? The field probably has like what?
Right. I mean, you're like 6% is like 1,000,000% over the field probably on Quez.
It certainly is. I like him though because he's going to play in 3 wide receiver sets. He'll probably play well ahead of Rager, who I actually, from reading the reports, the Athletic doesn't think he'll be on the roster.
Yeah,
entering the season. So that's not really anything you have to worry about with him. And then he's a speed guy. He's a downfield guy. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this concept of a spike week.
But
speed helps.
So just to finish up that conversation we were having with like players that shoot up draft boards, like, the classic case of Julio Jones going from the 18th pick to the ninth round pick. I don't always stop taking those guys. Like Julio, I'm going to stop taking, but that was calculated.
Yeah.
Like I knew I was pounding Julio, and then as soon as he signed, that faucet was getting shut off.
Yeah.
With Deshaun Watson, maybe I should have been doing that as well, or like a guy that shoots up for injuries. You can't predict that as much, although I'm trying to do that with Dearness Johnson to a degree. I don't think you have to stop drafting those players like Darrell Henderson last year. That was the big discussion last year. Do you stop drafting Henderson? And if he's going to give you 5th or 4th round value and he makes sense for your team, do I love it? No. Would I have rather got him in the 12th? Of course. But he's still now the starting running back for the the LA Rams, which is one of the best offenses in the league. And we've seen that your lineup doesn't have to be perfect to make it through these things. And if you still need that guy in week 15, 16, 17, what does it matter if you get him in the 5th or 12th round?
Yeah.
I mean, that might be big brain or maybe too simple of thinking as well. You know what I mean?
I think the issue with Henderson that's tough, with that type of play is that it's not just that people have him cheaper. It's that you're going up against a lot of guys who are going to have a wide receiver in that range. Like last year, you might have taken Henderson and they might have taken Kupp. And now they have Henderson as well because, they were getting him in the 12th round or whatever. So it's like you're going up against a team that's really benefiting from the structure because they, the 0 running back teams with Henderson are going to be very strong in wide receiver. With Watson, I wonder if it would be quite as much of an advantage because I imagine that he's probably the 3rd quarterback on a number of teams. And so like maybe if he's as long as he's not too expensive, like let's say he goes in the 11th round post suspension, then you're building with him as a 2 quarterback build with that knowledge.
Right.
I think that's probably fine because like I don't know if I'm like terrified of going up against a 3 quarterback Deshaun Watson team in week 17 but I will say if he's like a 7th, 8th round guy, if the suspension's like way less than expected, then I don't know if I can do that.
I mean, I don't want to do that. There's that whole thing. I would just hope that if that does happen, what I would like is that maybe that pushes some of the other quarterbacks back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're starting to get even more Lamar or Jalen Hurts or Kyler Murray at like a slightly reduced rate. I don't think it'll be anything massive, but I guess that's the one thing I'd be looking for. I don't know if it would happen, but let's run over our team and then get out of here. So we got Hurts and Lawrence at quarterback, Saquon, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, Tyrion Davis-Price, Raheem Mostert at running back, Diggs, DJ Moore, Kirk, Burks, Galladay, Nico, DJ Chark, Fuller, Quez Watkins, and then tight end we have Waller and Goddard, which to your point, bringing up the whole like seeing combo stack percentages, like I'd love to see like what the Waller Goddard ownership is.
It's got to be low.
Yeah,
it's not always smart. Like especially if you take Waller in the 4th,
right?
Like getting Waller 5th and Goddard 9th makes it doable. And also like I don't love doing it, so I can't imagine it's that high owned because it might be bad.
I mean, how many times does it make sense? Like as much as it did for the team that we just built, to your point, like it just usually doesn't make sense to grab those 2 guys because of how much capital you're giving up.
And I felt like we had that luxury pick. We already had 4 receivers through 8. We had a couple running backs. Like there wasn't anybody on the board that was really screaming out. So I think it made a ton of sense for this team, but yeah, you have to imagine it's fairly unique.
Yeah. I mean, I love this team. We have the Jacksonville Houston week 17 stack. We also have Tampa with DJ Moore. Like, I think it's fine. We have Will Fuller going somewhere that's going to help us out, I imagine. I guess I would have liked some more of the high profile offenses, but if this team gets through, it'll be relatively unique. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have anything going on with KC. We didn't do anything around Diggs and the Bills-Bengals game, which is
It's hard though.
it's hard. It is hard. Yeah.
It's real hard to do anything there. Like that's gonna be if that's the game you need in week 17, theoretically, then great, because nobody's gonna be stacked on that game hardcore. Like
you can do it from the Bengals side. Like you can go pretty hard on the Bengals side.
well, if you went Diggs, you could go like Diggs, bring back T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and then you can do like a Hayden Hurst type deal. So like, yeah, you can do it that way.
Well, yeah, it's hard to do with Diggs because you can do like you could do Chase, Higgins,
Right.
Gabe Davis with
That's
like
a good point.
an
Yeah.
elite running back in there, and then you can get Burrow pretty easily from that spot.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Anyways, so NBC Sports Edge, right?
NBC Sports Edge, a good football show. We're doing on Mondays division by division previews with beat writers coming on for a couple of teams. Had a really good episode this week. Michael Sean Dugard joined us talking the Seahawks, and one of the big nuggets from the episode was he thinks it's a 3-man backfield. He thinks probably Travis Homer, but if not, DJ Dallas is going to be playing third downs out there for pass blocking. And we're looking at Penny and Walker splitting a 2-down roll. It's going to be gross.
Sounds amazing. Sounds like everything I want in Seattle.
Yeah. We're supposed to this is buzzy happy time. Everything's like all about, these guys look great. Everyone's in great shape. And then meanwhile, the Seahawks are like, yeah, we're going to split touches between Walker and Penny in a low volume 2-down roll.
Oh my God. That team is just going to be a disaster to watch. Somebody save DK Metcalf, please. Somebody just go out and make some ridiculous offer and get him somewhere. Yeah. I mean, I like that you pitched your show and then you talked about talking about the Seattle Seahawks. So that's the way to bring the people in. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Yell at Eric Bime for ruining everything early in the show. And we'll talk to you later.